Shabbat Shalom. As always these days, it is feeling particularly difficult to zone in on just one thing that happened this week. American politics, Israeli politics, financial markets, tariffs, war in Ukraine, war against Hamas, natural disasters, mass shootings. I'm sure I'm missing something, and it's whatever you're thinking right now in your head. That is not one of the things. That's a good thing. We live in chaotic times. And in chaotic times, it's human instinct to look to our leaders to guide us, to make the difficult choices, to see us through the wilderness. This week, the world lost a powerful moral voice with the death of Pope Francis. The Catholic Church is not a perfect institution. Pope Francis wasn't a perfect leader or a perfect person. But time and again, he spoke out with deep concern for the vulnerable among us. He reminded humanity of our obligation to care for the earth. He was committed to building bridges across lines of difference of nationality, difference of religion, difference of race, difference of wealth. Yes, Pope Francis made some controversial statements after October 7th. And yes, those statements were critical of Israel. But as member of Knesset and Reform Rabbi Gilad Kariv said earlier this week, there is no doubt that Pope Francis was a close friend of the Jewish people, and he was more than allowed to express concern over Gaza. We know, Kariv said, how to embrace difference in opinion. Pope Francis's constant message was a message of peace and hope, and his moral leadership is already deeply missed in a world that is desperately in need of more voices of compassion, selflessness, and love at the highest levels of power. While many of us in the Jewish community have expressed heartfelt condolences to our Catholic friends and neighbors, this loss isn't one we can completely understand because we don't have a pope or anything like a pope. Long ago, we had a high priest who presided over the institution of the temple in Jerusalem, but even the high priest was not like a pope, not the one and only man through which the people could access God. Because in Exodus, as the people gather at the foot of Mount Sinai to form a covenant with God, God says the following: "Now if you faithfully heed my voice and keep my covenant, you will be my treasure among all the peoples, a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. You shall be to me." From the moment our people and God committed to one another, the expectation was very clear. Each and every one of us are responsible for taking on the mantle of leadership. Each and every one of us must be a force for holiness in the world, seeing the godliness in every human being, acting with morality and justice as guiding principles. Earlier this week, I was part of a discussion about what it means to be created B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God. The folks gathered around the room had a number of powerful and thoughtful questions, but this one stuck with me. Someone asked, if everyone is made in God's image, and I'm supposed to treat everyone as though they are made in God's image, what do I do when I find it difficult to see God in someone else? What an important and vulnerable question to ask, especially today. Our world seems increasingly filled with hatred, fear, and anger. We are distrustful of one another, and many of the world's leaders in 2025 are pouring fuel on that fire. What do we do when we find it difficult to see the godliness in one another? What do we do when we don't see models of morality in our global leadership, when we see, in fact, the opposite? It's true. Sometimes I find myself circling the drain of disappointment, bombarded with news story after news story. Maybe you felt that way too. But in these moments, we have to remember our tradition. We are a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. We are not stuck only looking to elected officials or religious leaders to show us or tell us how to act. Each of us have to be models of what we want to see in the world, living our values in the big ways and the small ways. You're probably already doing it, even if you haven't thought about it that way. When you treat someone with kindness and compassion, whether they're your own child, a friend, a supermarket checker, or someone you pass on the street. When you offer to help a neighbor carry something inside, or you offer encouragement to a soccer teammate, or you reach out to call someone who you know is having a tough time. Those are all ways we each change the world, bit by bit, into a kinder, more compassionate place. If you're looking for more concrete ways to act as moral leaders in our world today, there are so many wonderful organizations to get involved with, but you don't need to look very far. You actually don't need to look any further than Kol Ami if you want to do something good in the world. Day in and day out, our Kol Ami food pantry is working hard to live the values we learn from our prophets, to clothe the naked and feed the hungry. Need in the White Plains community is higher than ever. Our Be the Light committee is focusing on getting out the vote efforts. A simple postcard can be the difference between someone's voice being heard in elections or not. Our Refugee Resettlement Committee group has been doing incredible work, helping multiple immigrant families find housing and work opportunities, as well as helping them settle into our Westchester community. And these are just some of our Kol Ami projects. I can't say them all. We'll be here till next Shabbat. But if you want to be a part of any of these initiatives, or if you have ideas about what more we could be doing, please speak up. Let us know how you want to get involved. But be warned, once you tell us you want to be involved, you're going to be involved. So tell us and mean it. We always need more volunteers, more donations of time, energy, food, and money to support these value-driven efforts. I'll be the first to admit how comforting it would be to live in a world where all we had to do was turn on the news to find compassionate, moral leaders guiding our world toward wholeness and peace, where we scrolled social media and saw godliness in one another, where we didn't have to search so hard to find goodness. But this challenging time is a call to us. It's a reminder that when we don't see it, we have to be it. I'm glad that there's not a pope in our tradition. Leadership is crucial, and we all have leaders that we know and love who've guided and shaped us. And I'm proud to be a leader, but I'm also proud to be part of a tradition and a community that empowers each of us to be leaders. Even if you're not so sure that's a comfortable title, even if you're not so sure you want to call yourself that, I'm calling you that. Our tradition is calling you that. We are each leaders in our own ways. We each come from this kingdom of priests, and we each have a divine spark within us, increasing our capacity to be a voice of morality, a voice of compassion, and a voice of peace. This Shabbat, every Shabbat, let's remember that together. Shabbat Shalom.